we started. We're doing those torso rotations. So we'll take it in the next direction. So I just want to make sure that we're a stable platform here. And it looks like we're good. So Josephine's been rotating her torso now for a good minute. Let's take those torso rotations the other way. And we're going to be a little asymmetrical here. So we're not going to do a full minute there.
I didn't anyway.
You didn't anyway. Okay, good. And then back to center. Beauty of the cylinder here. Let's go a little wider with the feet. Let's spider our hands front as we hinge at the hips. And then either keeping neutral spine or pasting the palms down. And the beauty of the cylinder here is we can just roll that cylinder front to back as we really get into our hips and really get into our low back. And then finding the center of your sits bones, let's move towards Kurmasana as we feed our arms underneath our legs. And just letting yourselves melt into your cylinder, melt into your pillow. As we relax the shoulders, relax the neck, you might give your head a little shake. And we'll come back to that internal focus with the mantra that goes so well with this shape. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. I go deep within to find all that I need. And then a tuck of the chin. Let's unfeed those arms as we come back up. And for now, let's bring our cylinder off to the side and find an all fours position upon the floor or mat. And make sure I'm in frame here. In our all fours position, let's just wiggle or circle our hips for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's take those hip rotations the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now back to center. Let's trace a figure 8 with our hips. One hip chases the other for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's take those figure 8s the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and back to center. From here, let's grab our cylinder again. And let's bring our forearms on the cylinder, the palms face up. We can send our sits bones back to our heels for a version of the child's pose. And just warming up our shoulders as we roll the cylinder front. And then we draw the cylinder back. Rolling cylinder front. Drawing it back. Rolling cylinder front and drawing it back. Now let's turn the palms down. Same thing. We roll the cylinder out and we bring it on back. We roll cylinder out. We draw it on back. We roll cylinder out. We draw it on back. Now let's have the palms face in. We roll the cylinder out and we draw it back. We roll cylinder out. We draw it back. We roll cylinder out. We draw it back. Now let's spin the palms out any amount, the thumbs face down. We roll cylinder out. We draw it on back. We roll cylinder out. We draw it on back. We roll cylinder out. And we draw it on back. Let's combine palm directions here. So the palms face in, we roll the cylinder out, and now we're going to spin the thumbs down as we roll the cylinder in. Thumbs face up, palms face in as we roll it out. We turn thumbs down and palms out as we roll it in. One more time. We roll it out, we roll it in, and then keep rolling it in. As we tuck the toes, we can push into the cylinder as we lift the knees. And let's walk the feet on forward. From here, let's catch either side of the cylinder as we let the neck relax and the head be heavy. We can lift the cylinder up and then just gently rocking our bodies from side to side. From here, let's come center and let's tuck that cylinder just under the navel. And then we're going to fold over that cylinder as we massage our belly any amount. And then holding for 2 or 3 breaths. Now keeping the cylinder tucked just underneath the navel, let's bring hands to the thighs. We push ourselves up without losing the cylinder. From here, let me adjust the camera a little bit for we're going to find a stand. There. Nice. Let's stretch our cylinder high in the sky. You want to come a little bit more forward and a little bit towards that side of the frame. Holding that cylinder high overhead, let's isometrically engage as we squeeze and let it go. Squeezing the cylinder and let it go. Squeezing the cylinder and holding. Breath in. Breath out. And then letting it go. From here, let's bring the cylinder behind us. A hand on each side. Let's see. Get to a place where you all can see. And we're going to squeeze the cylinder and let it go. Squeeze and let it go. Squeeze and hold. Breath in, breath out, and then letting it go. From here, let's bring the cylinder back up overhead, holding it between the palms. Staying grounded through the feet, let's take a twist to the left. Inhaling through center, finding a twist to the right. Back and forth a couple more times, exhaling into the twist. Inhaling through center. Exhaling into the twist. Inhaling through center. And then back to center. And down. Let's bring the cylinder onto the ground. Again, let me adjust the camera angle here so you all can see what's going on. From this place, we'll step 1 foot behind the cylinder. Hands find the hips. Then we bring a foot onto the cylinder. And just massage the bottom of our foot as we roll the cylinder front to back. Should feel pretty good if you've been wearing shoes today.
I haven't.
And even if you haven't been wearing shoes, it should feel pretty good. Anytime I massage the bottom of my feet, it really just kind of sends a nice energy through my body. And then other foot down. We'll bring other foot onto the cylinder and just rolling it front to back. Now from here, let's bring 1 foot on a cylinder. Make sure you have your balance. Other foot comes on the cylinder. As we try to balance any amount, if you have to step off, no big deal. We start to connect with our center.
Do you want to switch? This one's really easy.
Is that too easy?
Yeah, because it's really
Or maybe
soft.
you have much better balance than I do.
Probably that too, but this one's really easy.
I was falling off just a demo for the folks at home. Whoa.
Can I try that one?
You want to try it? We'll switch cylinders.
This one just like, it's really...
So just so y'all know, the black cylinder is your hardest cylinder. The white cylinder is the softest. And there's another number of cylinders somewhere in between.
Oh no, it's just me.
Just you have much better balance than I do. Woo. Sometimes it's fun to fall.
Yeah,
There it is.
I wish I could, you know.
And then we'll come on off. Woo! And give it a shake. From this place, let's use the cylinder to find a fun version of the tree pose. So let's grab our cylinder. We'll bring it to the left side of our body. Left hand on the cylinder. Right hand on the hip. Let's shift weight onto the right foot. Let's find either our kickstand tree, our calf tree. Maybe we find our knee tree. Make sure that knee pushes into the foot as much as the foot pushes into the knee. From here, we can maybe think about bringing hip hand to heart. We can maybe stretch hand high. If you've never looked up,
with your hand on the cylinder, you can certainly maybe have a little bit more foundation to play with that maneuver. If you looked up, we can bring gaze back to the ground. High hand becomes heart hand. Heart hand becomes hip hand. From here we can swing that left thigh front. And with a hand on the cylinder, we can lift this thigh high, leaning a little bit forward as we go long through the leg. Lifting leg just a little higher. And let's sweep that left foot on through as we find our Warrior One prep. So we've lined up the heels, we're squaring the hips front. From here, let's take our cylinder back up and over the head. In our Warrior One prep, again, finding that isometric engagement as we squeeze the cylinder and let it go. Squeeze and let it go. One more time, squeeze and hold and let it go. From here, let's bring the cylinder behind us. In our Warrior One, a hand on each side of the cylinder as we squeeze and let it go. Squeeze and let it go. Squeeze and hold. Breath in, breath out, and letting it go. And Josephine hates the Rainbow Warrior, but I think with the cylinder, she's going to like this Rainbow Warrior. So we stretch the cylinder back and down, open heart, open throat, and then finding that forward fold with our hands on the cylinder. This should give you lots more room to work as we relax the neck and heavy the head. Nice, look at that. As we hold any of these shapes, if you feel shaky, squeezing the feet together to inspire the legs from that foundation, maybe going a little farther in the shape, even if it's just on an energetic level. In our Rainbow Warrior, I'll invite you to tuck the chin as we bring it on up. And then again, let's bring our cylinder back up overhead. And let's find some twisting action in our Warrior One as we twist inside the front leg. We twist towards the front leg and then a little bit past, any amount. And just a few times we can exhale into the twist. Inhale through center, exhaling into the twist the other way. One more time each side. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and then back to center. And let's bring the cylinder down on the right side of the body. Hand on the cylinder, the left hand finds the hip. We spin the back heel up. We take a big step in. And let's keep one hand on the cylinder just so it doesn't fall as we bring one hand to the heart. And just finding our breath. Breath in, breath out. And then hands by our side. So let's find that tree pose with the cylinder on second side. Left hand finds left hip. We'll shift the weight onto left foot. With our right foot, we can find either a kickstand, we can find our calf, we might find the knee. Now if you find the knee, make sure that knee pushes into the foot as much as the foot pushes into the knee. And then from here, with our hand on a cylinder, we can go to all kinds of places you might not be able to go if we're trying to free balance here as we bring hip hand to heart. Heart hand becomes high hand. And with the support of the cylinder, if you've never looked up or even if you rarely look up, it should be relatively easy because we've got that cylinder to help our balance. High hand becomes heart hand becomes hip hand, and we'll work that psoas strengthener as we swing the knee front. We lift the thigh up higher, and then we go long through the leg. Holding it for 2 or 3 breaths. Lifting that leg just a little higher. And then let's sweep it on through as we find our Warrior One prep with our hand on the cylinder. From here, so you want to find a length of stance that works for your legs. From here we can stretch that cylinder high to the sky. As we hold the cylinder high, we can squeeze and let it go. Squeeze and let it go. Squeeze and hold. Breath in, breath out, and then letting it go. From here, let's bring the cylinder behind our back, a hand on each side, as we hold our warrior one, squeezing, and let it go. Squeeze, and let it go. Squeeze, and let it go. And then keeping this cylinder right here as we move towards that rainbow warrior, shoulder blades back and down onto rib shelf, keeping that openness as we take that forward fold inside the front leg, as we draw the cylinder up and over the head, shoulders up and back towards the hips. Relax that neck and heavy that head. I'll invite you to envision any tension in the neck and shoulders just draining down through the crown of the head into the earth, where it's gone, at least for now. In our rainbow warrior, I'll suggest a tuck of the chin to stretch out the back of the neck as we bring it on up. From this place, let's bring the cylinder back high overhead, and we'll take a little twist away from that front leg. Back through center, we'll twist it towards the front leg and then just take it a little bit further. And a couple more times, exhaling into the twist. Inhaling through center, exhaling. One more time each side, inhaling and exhaling. And then back to center. We can bring the cylinder back down to the ground, hand finds the hip. We can spin the back heel up. We can take a big step forward and keeping a hand on the cylinder as we bring a hand to our heart, just finding our breath. And then hand by our side. So let's do some ab work. Cylinder's so good for that. That's the harder cylinder. Or do you want a softer cylinder for your back?
I don't care.
You don't care? Okay,
Whatever
so
you
why don't you keep the, I always go black myself, but the white cylinder is a little softer.
Okay.
So my actual favorite cylinder, if you ever find those blue cylinders, it's somewhere between the white and the black. And we have those at our gym. So I'm usually a blue cylinder guy for the back stuff. You want to make sure we get good view here. So let's come down onto our cylinder. Nice. All right, so we're both in the screen here. So let's get nice and long on the cylinder. We're going to have to arrange ourselves a little bit. Yeah, so you're going to be here.
I'm gonna like go this way.
I think you're good. We'll go in opposite directions. And as we lay our spines down, we can feel a sense of tractioning as we push forward with the hands. Cylinder makes it a little more challenging, but also gives you a target to shoot for. When we get down, we want to make sure the spine is fully supported. So we've got both the sacrum and back of head on the cylinder. I'll invite you to go wide with the arms, the palms face down, nice and wide with the feet, and then just massaging your back as we roll ourselves from side to side. This should feel really, really good. Catching the inner borders of the shoulders. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then coming back center, just finding your center, feeling your spine long on the cylinder. From here, let's do some marching. So we're going to lift up our feet, and we're going to pretend like the floor is hot water as we tap a toe down and back up. Other toe down and back up. We can exhale down, inhale up. Exhale and inhale. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Let's do 3 more. Both sides, down and up, down and up. Last 2 each way, down and up, down and up. Last one, down and up, down and up. And then 2 feet down. Make sure you got not lots of support here. Again, nice and wide with those arms and just rolling your spine from side to side. Now coming back center, let's work a double toe march as we lift our feet on up. We tap 2 toes down and up, down and up, down and up. Halfway done, down and up, down and up. Last one,
down, and up, and then 2 feet down. And again, just rolling yourself from side to side, just massaging yourselves out. From here, let's stay nice and wide with the feet. And let's reach back with our hands as we clasp the fingers. We can bring the fingers behind the head so our neck doesn't have to do too much work. Also getting a nice stretch across the front of the heart. From here, we can lift the head to tuck the chin, exhaling, and then back down. So we're working the upper abs here. Exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. Let's do 2 more. Exhale up, inhale down. This last one we'll hold. We'll exhale up, inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. One more here. Breath in. And breath out. We can layer heads down, feeling a sense of tractioning in the neck. And then one more time. Nice and wide with those arms. And just rolling yourself from side to side. From here, let's roll ourselves off of the cylinder for now. And we'll push on up and find a seat for a sec. And we're going to come back down onto the cylinder. There's different ways. We're going to use a supported bridge pose here. So there's different ways to use the cylinder. Some people have a hard time getting there from the ground. So if you want to start by seated on the cylinder and then walk your feet forward so that that sacrum's supported, and then lay yourself down. That'd be an alternating way to get there. The other way is you start from the ground and you lift the hips up and place the cylinder underneath the sacrum. From here, let's find legs up the wall without a wall as we find our legs high to the sky. Just holding this for a few breaths. You could also use a pillow on this one. Just letting anything that's collected in our feet and our ankles, in our legs, it gets a chance to drain down to the digestive tract to be digested, or the heart and lungs to be refreshed and revitalized. Feeling free to hang here, or let's add a little core engagement here as we softly point the toes and we can scissor our legs down, only going so low as your low back feels good, and we can scissor those legs back up. We scissor down and scissor up. We scissor down and scissor up. Let's do one more. Scissor it down and scissor it up. Now we're going to find a flex to the feet, stretching long through those heels, and we'll flutter kick it down and flutter kick it up.
Just if you're actually swimming, please point your toes.
Flutter kick it down and flutter kick it up. When you're upside down, all the rules are changed, Josephine.
You're supposed to have Barbie legs when you're the flutter kick.
Barbie legs and a flutter kick? All right, maybe I'll
Always.
teach it differently next class. I just like the way the flex foot feels. Makes my ankle feel good. And let's do one more. We flutter kick it down. We flutter kick it up. And now let's find a floint. It's somewhere between a point and a flex. So we stay long through the heels. We push through the balls of the toes as we draw the toes back towards our face. Let's trace a big circle down and up. We can exhale it down, inhale it up. Exhale it down, inhale it up. One more this direction. Exhale it down, inhale it up. Now let's trace a line down and circle it up. Trace a line down and circle it up. Let's do 2 more. Trace a line down, circle it up. Trace a line down, circle it up. And then just keeping those legs long to the sky again, is just letting anything drain down from our legs to our digestive tract or to our hearts and lungs. So it can either be digested or refreshed and revitalized. And then from here, let's ground down through the feet. Let's push our hips up, let's bring the cylinder off to the side, and as we stretch our tailbone down, feel like you're laying pearls onto a cushion as you find more space in your low back. From here, let's stretch long through an arm and push onto a side. And let's use the cylinder to give ourselves a nice massage. We haven't worked too hard today. And this is, the white one's a little too soft for me. The black one is the one I really, really like. Having said that, you can have the black one because it's nice and hard. Anyway, we're going to start seated. I want to make sure we're both in the frame here. As we sit on the cylinder, nice and wide with those feet, a little external rotation on the hips, hands behind, and just massaging your glutes as we roll it from
My
side to
hands
side.
can't reach, they're too short.
They can't, so you could also just have hands on cylinder. Yeah.
I'm not 6'2".
Now I've been riding my bicycle a lot today, so this next stretch is going to be feel really good, but also maybe a little bit challenging. As I lean to one side, and I really get into that glute. There's the meat of the glute, and there's that little area, just a little bit above the glute, and I'm getting a lot of sensation now. And I find whenever I ride my bike a lot, that's an area that tightens up, and just getting into it. Now let's come through center. We'll lean to the other side. And you've got that big meaty glute, that gluteal maximus. And then moving towards the medius. It's a little triangular muscle on top of that big maximus. And that, I find, gets really, really tight when I ride a bicycle. Now from here, let's come back center. And I call this ironing the spine. So the idea is we're going to start to come down towards that bridge pose where we were before, but rather than the cylinder being under the sacrum, it's going to start to find the various regions of the back. I'm going to do a front and back motion, like you're ironing a shirt or a pair of pants or a dress or whatever, as we start to massage our backs. So we start to roll on a cylinder front to back. As we roll, we start to bring the cylinder up towards the tailbone. We start to bring the cylinder up towards the sacrum. Now already you're starting to probably use a little core engagement here. Now we're massaging just below the kidneys, a little bit above the sacrum. And then from here I'll invite you to bring your hands onto the cylinder, palms face in, and then we're just starting to get those kidneys. Be mindful, if this hurts, come off of that spot. From the kidneys, we're starting to take it to that mid place, that thoracic spine, so we're not on the shoulders, but we're certainly above the hips. Every time we roll, we go a little bit further. And now we're starting to get to the tips of the shoulders and starting to work those tips. This place, I'll invite you to go nice and wide with the arms as we start to get the meat of the shoulders, those two big shoulder blades. And then from here, let's bring our hands down to the ground and let's roll onto the tops of the shoulders as we lift the hips up a little higher. And just getting in to the tops of those shoulders. Oh, feels so good. From the tops of the shoulders, let's bring our back down onto the ground. And let's take the cylinder back just a little bit. And we're going to lay our neck down on the cylinder. And you might traction the neck as you lay it down, almost like trying to lay a piece of boiled pasta over the back of a spoon. When that neck is heavy on the cylinder, I'll suggest you find cactus arms on the cylinder. And then just gently rolling your head from side to side as you massage your neck. Maybe you go a little bit further each time, maybe you don't. And the next time you're on one side or the other, I'll invite you to hang out there, letting the weight of your head take the stretch a little bit further. And then bringing your head back through center and finding that other side. And then you're bringing your head back center. Now let's roll the cylinder back just a little bit to find the occiput. That's where the spine connects into the skull. It's a little bony knob there. I'm going to lay the head down, letting the head be heavy on the cylinder. Again, finding those cactus arms. And just massaging the occiput, the back of your skull, as you gently roll it from side to side. This is a place where the face holds a lot of tension, surprisingly. So as we roll the head from side to side, massaging our occiput, notice if your cheeks soften, if your eye sockets deepen, if your brow smooths. And then just like we did with the neck, when you're on one side or the other, just letting your head hang out, letting the weight of the head take it a little further or not, really depends on your head, your neck, how your body feels. Always finding the most important teacher in any room, which is that teacher inside yourself. And then rolling the head through center. And that's certainly true in most yoga. There is more technical yoga where certainly a teacher will know subtleties. Same with calculus. But in this feeling kind of yoga, pretty easy yoga, again, the most important teacher is you. And then back to center. From here, let's roll onto one side. We'll pop on up. And let's do a little massage for our legs here. So again, let's start seated on the cylinder. I want you to move this way, Joe, just so people can see you.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just going to massage our hamstring muscles as we roll it from side to side, or front to back. You there? I think you're running
A
into
little bit
that.
of space.
Yeah, come. Well, here, I'll move back a little bit. I want you to come this way, and that way you have some space to go. Now the hamstrings are 3 or 4 muscles depending on how you define hamstrings. So we got that middle hamstring here. So let's work the lateral hamstring, the outside hamstring, as we turn the toes out. Now we'll work the medial aspect of those hamstring muscles as we turn the toes in any amount. Now let's roll it on back, and let's bring the cylinder under our knees. I love this one here. As I lift the feet and just windshield wiper the feet in and out, massaging the back of our knees. How often does that part of our body get focus and attention? And then let's work our calf muscles here. So we're going to roll the cylinder onto the meat of the calf. With a little core engagement here as we lift our bottoms up. And just massaging those calves. The toes face up. There's two main muscles here, but those two main muscles have different aspects. Does it hurt?
Yeah.
Good, good, good. It's all that leg work you've been doing with the weights.
Yeah.
And now let's turn the toes out. It's a good hurt, is what they say.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know, I just wasn't expecting it.
And then we're going to turn the toes in.
None of the other ones have done this.
And now let's ground our bottoms down, and let's roll the cylinder. So we bring our Achilles tendons on the cylinder, hands behind, and again, just massaging our Achilles tendon. Our connective tissue enjoys a good massage, much like our muscles, keeping that circulation flowing, even though there's much less circulation in connective tissue, which is why we don't want to tear or rip it. It takes a lot longer to heal, if it can heal. And from here, let's pop the cylinder in, and we'll push up and over, and let's use the cylinder to massage our belly. So I'm going to focus on 2 areas, below the navel and above the navel. If you have food in you, you might want to back off on this one or do it very, very gently, mitigating the weight of the body with your hands and knees. Otherwise, we can find a plank position. Let's see, for the good visual here. I think you're there. I'm going to lay my upper belly onto the cylinder, so that's the belly that's above the navel. And I'm just rolling it front to back. And if it's too much, you could always take your body up.
It's not too much.
Now we're going to roll over the navel and get that low belly place. And this is my favorite place to massage. It's one of those places you get kind of a intense sensation. Usually it's a good sensation. I know when I stop doing it, it's certainly going to be an even better sensation.
It's like a good
And before we lay down and relax, let's sneak in a plank and a little bit of hard work here before we lay down and relax. And we can use this cylinder to add a note of instability on both ends of our body, not at the same time. So from here we find our forearm plank. I'll suggest a clasp of the fingers as forearms rest on the cylinder, and then walking the feet back and just holding for 3 or so long, slow breaths. If your hips are high, that's certainly safer than in letting the low back sag. But if your hips are high, see what happens. You go a little bit lower without sagging the low back. Shoulders super engaged. From here, let's land the knees and let's sneak in a child's pose. Sits bones back to the heels. Forearms stay on the cylinder, but we release the clasp of the fingers. And like we did way back when, rolling the cylinder out, palms face in. Rolling the cylinder in, palms face out, thumbs face down. And just working those shoulders a few times. And then from here, let's roll the cylinder in, and we'll add that note of instability on the other side of the body as we bring our shins onto the cylinder, either staying in this all fours place or walking the arms out so that we come to our forearm plank with our shins on the cylinder. Again, shoulders engaged. High hips are safer than lower hips, but trying to lower the hips if your hips are super, super high. And then landing the knees, keeping our shins on the cylinder as we send sits bones back to the heels, just enjoying that stretch. And then let's bring ourselves onto our backs, and let's bring the cylinder underneath the back of our knees. We're going to do a long, slow roll down onto our backs. Before we lay down and relax, full body stretch, arms by the ears as we point fingers and toes, and then sweeping hands by our hips, scooting the head back as we flatten the shoulders, doing whatever else feels right and good for you. Tip of the tongue is now neutral in the mouth, a slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. And the cylinder under the knees really lets that low back let go. Initially focusing on your breath as it flows in and out. But as we hold this Shavasana, even letting that focus soften as we bring our senses back inside. Those of you at home feeling free to stay in your Shavasana as long as you'd like. For the purposes of this 45-minute happy hour pop-up class, I'm going to ring these bells 3 times. I invite you to hear the striking of the tone, the duration of the sound, and then its diminution. And most importantly, the relative silence thereafter, all the ambient sound that's around us, as we start to connect with the universe. And that can be universe with a small u, just what's around us. At home, feeling free to hold your Shavasana. In this room here, I'll invite you to wiggle your fingers and toes as we invite more prana into our bodies. Now drawing that prana in towards center as we gently circle our wrists and our ankles. Now drawing one knee at a time in towards your heart as we move towards Apanasana. Hands catch the shins. And just using your thighs to massage your belly as we gently lift and lower the low back and hips. Keeping the knees close in, just rocking it from side to side, releasing and relaxing your back. And then rolling onto your right side, long through the right arm, letting that right arm serve as a cushion for the head. As we share a long, smooth, slow breath here on the floor. I invite you to let that breath sigh out through your mouth, softening your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, softening the corners of your eyes. Neck relaxed, face soft as you press into your hands to come up and claim a tall seat. You might grab that cylinder or that pillow as we sit tall. As we sit tall, hands on our knees, pulling back with our hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin as we bring our attention back inward. I'll invite you to bring 5 fingers of one hand onto the floor or onto the cylinder as palm of the other hand faces the sky. Ending our practice as we started, watching as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart and bow as you thank yourself for practicing yoga and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. Namaste. Thank you, Josephine, for practicing with us.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you at home for practicing with us. And we'll do another pop-up real soon.